Welcome back to What Arty Noobs for General Disturbance. This is an SU-100Y, otherwise known as the box tank. It's a Tier 6 Soviet premium tank destroyer. It's located on the north spawn of Prokhorovka and it's under the command of Marky 12. Well, the Soviets only built one of these and it was built in March 1940, so it was before Germany invaded and probably was built as a response to the Finnish bunkers on the Mannerheim line. Now we know that the Soviets built the KV-2 to knock down the bunkers, and I think this 13cm gun mounted on top of an SU-100Y was another attempt to do the same thing, but with a single shell from the 13cm gun. Now this is basically a Tier 8 gun at Tier 6, which is one of the things that makes the box tank so powerful. It never got put into production, the SU-100Y, and it was extremely heavy as well, 67 tons. And that's surprising because the KV-2 only weighed 56 tons. And that was only 9 tons heavier than the KV-1. So it was a very heavy tank indeed. And back in 1940, the Soviets weren't actually building very many heavy-duty engines to push a tank like that around quickly. Okay, his first target's a BT-7 over on the centre line. You could probably vaporise that tank with just one shot. Unfortunately, he was a bit too late. The shell shot behind the BT-7. It's Tier 6 game. He's up against some Tier 4 tanks in this game as well. BT-7 was a Tier 4. He would have been annihilated with one shot. He's actually loaded the premium ammo. We can tell that because the different penetration. Actually, it's not the premium. This is standard ammo. He's rearranged them. That's the premium ammo there. 440 alpha, 196 penetration. And with the standard, you get 510 damage, but 171 penetration. Or is that the other way around? No, it is the other way around. This is the premium. Okay, some enemy tanks still coming up to the centre line. I think that BT-7 is still there, but he's not going to fire just yet. The HE rounds, he's only loaded one, will actually do 580 and penetrate 65mm of armour, but that's still pretty devastating. You get hit by one of those, you're going to know it, especially if you're Tier 4, because 68mm of penetration is enough to go through most Tier 4 tanks. May not go through the front of the vehicle, but it will certainly go through the sides and the rear. And the enemy's got a VK3001P over at the centre line. Now Monkey's been practicing with this tank a lot, and in fact he's got 2 marks up on the barrel now. And he's trying to get the third. The problem with the box tank is mainly that that superstructure is so big and so easy to penetrate that they become very vulnerable even to small arms fire from the lower tier tanks. So if they get seen, box tanks become very vulnerable very quickly. 13 seconds on the reload as well. Well, no enemy in sight on this side of the map yet. Just the Excelsior and the VK over on the other side, and they're just over the ridgeline, so he's got no shot on them. I'm pretty sure there are enemy tanks ahead of us, but without sight of them, it's going to be difficult to kill them. Of course, the main benefit of the box tank is to remain hidden and hit them with that high caliber weapon from very long range away so that the enemy can't return fire. So he's now looking over to this side of the map, and it looks like the P-43 has pulled up. Ah no, that one hit the ridgeline. The other problem with taking shots when you're side on in this line of trees is you might get spotted by the enemy. And the first enemy on this side of the map's coming to sight. It's a Skoda T-24. That's better. Died just like that. But the Skoda is a tier 5 tank, so it wasn't a tier 4 or a tier 6. So tier 5 tanks, well, don't have a lot of armor. I reckon he could probably take out the Excelsior over there with just one shot. But whoever the player is, he's not willing to bridge that ridgeline because he knows there's a box tank over here somewhere. The VK's decided to do it, and this could be bad news for the VK. Marky's got to just line up the shot. Oh, he's the other side of the railway line, so he's not going to get a shot on that guy. He's only just seeing brief flashes of the turret as it moves down that tree line. A P-43's decided to do the same, and he's crossing over to the other side as well. And there's the Excelsior. And bad news for him. 463 hit points. Mind you, that was a low roll, I believe. Yes, it was. And he puts a hole right through the side of the KV-1 as well. That was a high roll, 578. KV-1's come up for some more. And if he gets hit again, yes, he's gone. Well, the enemy lost the KV-1. And the Excelsior's still alive, but won't be for very long because he's lost most of his hit points. But the scores are still even at this moment. Now he's moved off just slightly to one side so he can fire around the Churchill 3. Don't want to sit behind one of your teammates and not be able to fire at the enemy because they're blocking the view. Looks to me like the Churchill 1 is firing randomly southwards, trying to excite the enemy to moving. Nothing in sight, but he just keeps plugging away. He's got plenty of rounds to play with though. First target is a T-40 and he dies with one shot. 308 hit points. So Marky's now up to 1,300 and the T6 is about to die with one shot as soon as Marky reloads, and oh, he's gone before Marky can shoot. Scores are still even. Oh, here comes the Churchill 3, he's backing off. He hasn't lost any hit points. Can't see why he's backing off. Maybe he's just an inexperienced player. I must say that Type T-34 on their team is an experienced player, and he is actually going deep into enemy territory. So I believe we're going to get sight of the enemy very soon. And an enemy Matilda's been spotted. And we can also see that the Excelsior got as far south as the sea line on the east side of the map, and the Matilda Black Prince is also over there. And yeah, unfortunately we just lost our Type T-34 and we lost the Panzer IV Hydrostat. So it looks like the enemy's going to be coming over the railway line onto this side of the map. They've got the east side, we've got the west. And we're now one tank down on the enemy. And that's encouraged Marky to move back to cover his cap area. Now he's not double bushed here, so if the enemy does come over the railway line, they'll probably see him when he shoots, unless he can pull back. And with the ridge line the way it is, I'm not so sure he'll be able to get under pressure on the targets. So Matilda Black Prince is notoriously slow, so it might be a while before he gets there. And of course, if he has got a good camo rating, then he might be able to cross that railway line without actually being seen. Looks like the Type T-34 that went south, the experienced player, thinks that the rest of the team are bots. The Churchill's moved up nearer to the cap, so he might be able to get sighting of the enemy when they cross the line. Marky's just waiting. It's half the job in a tank destroyer, is just waiting for something to shoot at. He's having a good look round. There's one experienced player on their team. He's in the T67 and he's behind Marky, and he's in the spotting position, the bush behind him, so he could get sight of the enemy as they start moving up the west side if they decide to come that way. I doubt that that's going to be the case though. The enemy's got 3 tank destroyers, an SU-76 which is tier 4, a Stug 3G which is tier 5, and a Nashorn which is tier 6, but the Nashorn is fairly slow. The SU-76 is fairly weak when it comes to its gun, and in fact actually the only powerful tank they seem to have on their team is the Matilda and the T28E with the F30 gun, because that's an 85mm gun at tier 4. But remember, they're facing a 13cm gun on the box tank, which is a tier 8 gun at tier 6. BT7's decided to go a long way south, and he's not encountered any of the enemy, not yet at least. I have a sneaking suspicion that all of the enemy have gone over to the east side of the map. Now, the T67's joined the BT7 down in the south. Now, that's the really good player, and his view range is probably a lot higher than the BT7. He's found somebody, he's found the Nashorn. They're starting to do damage. There's the Nashorn. Dialing in. Yes! 1 kill. 3 kills now for Marky. But they are still losing hit points down in the south, which tends to indicate there's some enemy tanks nearby, possibly at the railway line, shooting at them. And 2 enemy tanks did make it across the railway line and have just been spotted by the Churchill. And yes, he does have shots. In fact, the first target is the T28E with the F30. Takes a big hit for 536. They lose the Stug. The SU-76M is behind them. The T28's dead. Churchill got him. The SU-76 is still down there, but the BT7 needs to find him. There he is. And it's the end of him. Only 2 enemies left now, the Matilda Black Prince and the Matilda. Well, Marky's decided to take the bull by the horns, and he's going to directly move across the bowl, across the centre line, looking for them. If his sixth sense goes off, he'll have to make a decision. Does he go to the left or does he go to the right? The enemy's probably still on the right side if they haven't gone over to the east side of the map. No sixth sense. Oh, there's the Matilda. He's been spotted, and so is Marky. And there's the other Matilda at the centre line, in amongst those wrecks. Can he get a shot? Well, he does, but he doesn't kill the Matilda, and this is where it can be expensive on the reload. That's the last minute hooter. They need to kill both these tanks very quickly now to win. There's the end of the Matilda, who didn't shoot at Marky, which is surprising. But now we've got to kill the Matilda Black Prince in the next 45 seconds, or we will get a draw. Well, we know he's over this side of the map. The Churchill just needs to find him, and then Marky can kill him. He's got 5 kills, so if Marky gets this, he gets the top gun. And it looks like the Matilda is driving towards the river, trying to get into the water, so he's below the ridge line. But Marky's probably going to get there in time. 18 seconds left. The Churchill's diving in, trying to get the kill. He's rammed him, and now he's blocking our shot, but we can get a shot on him. Line it up. 7 seconds to go. And he wipes the Matilda out with just 6 seconds left on the clock. And that is a Top Gun. So half in, half off the water. Let's have a look at the end of battle stats for this one. It's an ace tanker for Marky 12 in the SU-100Y. He managed to get a fire for effect for doing more damage than the hit points for his own vehicle. He actually platooned at the last moment with somebody else who had at least 3 kills. And so he got a Brothers in Arms, he got a high caliber for dealing the most damage in the game, and a Top Gun for getting at least 6 kills. Let's have a look at the team score. There you go, top of the table, 3,580 hit points of damage. The next high scorer happened to be the VK3001D with 1,588, and after that it was the T28E with the F30 gun, 1,512. The Churchill, who he platooned with at the last moment, got 1,299, which is not bad, I think, considering he was firing away without any result for quite some time. When it came to kills, yes, of course, Marky got the top with 6 kills. 4 kills went to the T28E with the F30, and 3 kills went to the Churchill 3 and the VK3001D. And of course, he platooned with the Churchill, so they both got Brothers in Arms. When it came to base XP, it's Marky again with 1,198. 1,115 goes to the Churchill 3. Those are the only 2 players who went over 1,000 on their base XP, and 879 went to the VK3001D. He fired 12 rounds, got 10 direct hits, 10 penetrations, and damage of 3,580 hit points, of which 2,679 were at more than 300 meters. He damaged 9 of the enemy, killed 6 of them, and did 112 hit points of damage assistance. On a premium count, he earned 53,569 credits, and after ammunition, resupply, and consumables, took away 15,724 credits. He received 1,198 XP, 539 for this being a premium vehicle, and took away 2,336 experience points altogether. So the box tank, yes, it's a bit of fun really, and it is perfectly possible to get 2 and maybe 3 marks up if you're good enough, and if you want to take part in a lot of battles where you're shooting from very long range. You don't want to get too close to the enemy if you can help it, because yes, it does make a rather large target, but it can be a bit of fun. And if you've got tank rewards, you can normally get one as part of the tank rewards. If you've got the other 2 tanks, you get a choice normally of Type 64 box tank or a TOG. And of those, the Type 64 is probably the best of the rewards. The box tank is the second best, and the TOG, well, yeah, it's a TOG. And you only really like a TOG if you have that sort of mentality. Let's not say mentality. Yes, you've got to be something slightly wrong with you if you like a TOG, because they're very slow. They do have a good gun, but they are so slow they just make an easy target for Arty. And so you don't normally have very good games, but as Jingles would often say, TOG always wins. And I suppose Rita likes it as well, and so does Zoe Balls for that matter. But no, TOG, no. Not unless you like pain. So if you enjoyed that replay, please give this video a like and do subscribe to our channel. And thank you for watching.